But who is someone who you personally know who's influenced you, and like why and how have they influenced you?
Hmm. Oh, it's gonna
Doesn't
sound
have
so,
to be the person, but just one person who comes to mind.
this sounds so generic, but like dead ass, my mom.
Hmm.
Okay, because my mom was born and raised in Iran. Okay, and she had to bury the books she was reading in her backyard so that she couldn't get like so that she wouldn't get arrested. Like after the revolution, well, so a lot of people actually have a misconception. Iran actually used to be very free. When my mom was growing up, it was really a lot like here. She didn't have to cover her hair. You could practice any religion you wanted. It wasn't like the way it is now.
Hmm.
When my mom was a teenager, uh, the current extremist regime that's in power now overthrew the government.
Gotcha.
Okay. So
So that's
some,
when the culture changed.
yes, some Islamic extremists overthrew the government and now run it as a complete, um, I don't know, just like, yeah, it's like almost tyrannical. Like it's
Yeah,
just like,
I think that's definitely the right word. Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, so she grew up with freedoms and like exposures to different ideas and different cultures. I mean, yeah, and then that was taken away from her. So it's almost like if that happened to us now.
I
And
can't imagine that.
right. And so she but she is like she's the most like stubborn woman I know, which is why I'm so stubborn. And like I know it's generic, but it really is like my mom. Like she's a fucking badass. So she refused to throw out her books that had all these like feminists and like open progressive ideas in it when the Islamic Republic of Iran or whatever took over. So she buried them in the backyard so she didn't have to throw them away. And she never
That's
stopped
awesome.
protesting in the streets up until the very day her best friend was murdered. And
Wow.
my grandpa put her on an airplane and just shipped her out of the country. And at age 20, she went to France with nothing but a backpack and a passport. And
Wow.
somehow she's now here running an office, married, kids. Like
Yeah. That's
that is
amazing.
like so fucking cool to me because she's like, I
Yeah.
always knew my right to live. And she was like, I would never let someone scare me. I'd rather die than let someone scare me into living the way they wanted me to live. And I think that's why I'm a lot of the way I am.
Hmm.
And it really is my mom.
That's cool. That gives me chills. No, it's yeah, I can see why you take after your mom. It's like she literally questioned the assumptions when it was like life or death kind of stakes, right? It's
Literally.
yeah. And
She's like, I'd
she's a huge
literally rather
success
give
story.
up my life than agree with you that everyone has to be a certain way. Like, no, she's just like believes in freedom. And I mean, to even imagine that. Like, imagine she graduated high school and they said, no, you can't have your diploma. Come to this random, everyone was mailed their diploma. And then they told her because she was outspoken about
Hmm.
how this government was tyrannical and they needed to get out. And so she graduates high school and they go, we don't want to give you your diploma. Come to this address. It's some random warehouse address. Her best friend had just gone missing 2 days before.
Oh gosh.
And my grandpa saved her life, was smarter than that, was like, nope, you're not getting a high school diploma. I'm sorry. You're going to have to find it somewhere else. Puts her on a plane, ships her out like overnight. And that's true. My mom had to then go get those GE credits somewhere else
Wow.
um, because the government wouldn't give her her diploma unless she showed up at this place because they wanted to shut her up.
Dang. Smart decision by your grandpa to get her
I
out,
know.
you know?
And
It's
you see,
scary.
that's why, like, I think. immigrant families are so close because we've all just like been through so much. And that's why I do spend such a huge chunk and proportion of my adult life taking care of my family and like giving back to my grandpa because my grandpa saved us, is the
Mm,
reason we're here, sacrificed a lot, you know?
hmm.
And so I don't ever take that for granted.